everyone. This is an emergency episode of the Big Picture Manatee. And as you all know, there's an awful lot happening out there with Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. And now we have another guy coming our way, Milton possibly. So we wanted to bring you some information though about two very important historic areas in Manatee County and what's happening there for recovery efforts. And that's Rabonia, as you all know, in the northern part of the county, and then also the Cortez Fishing Village. So I'd love to turn it over to my colleagues.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Misty Servia. Just a quick hello as we get started. Former county commissioner and urban planner in this area my whole life. Reg?
Hey, how's everyone doing? Reggie Bellamy. Let's get this thing started, get this information out there.
Great. All right. Well, as you know, I'm Sherry Cordier. I've been involved in a lot of storms and activated a lot with some county history. But today, again, with the Big Picture Manatee, we're here to educate, inform, and engage those of you in Manatee County that like to stay up on what's really important, what's happening. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, I want to start by saying we're also very concerned about the recovery of our island communities. Anna Maria, Holmes Beach, Bradenton Beach, Longboat Key, Palmetto, Sneed Island. I mean, there are so many people struggling. I have friends out there, as I know that you guys do, and there's not one person that hasn't been affected. The losses in those areas are devastating, and recovery efforts have been underway and really targeted for them. So while you've most likely heard or seen the response that's happening out there, the Rabonia area and the Cortez Fishing Village have had a little bit more difficulty in getting resources and the word out for what they need. But I do want to give one quick shout out, because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Mark Masferer and candidate Jen Hamey, they were both out there in those areas trying to help. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's so helpful.
Yeah, it's a lot of boots work on the ground. I've been through there a couple of times, and really, there are a lot of great volunteers. I know some people out there feeding, but the trench work is really what's going to be very important. Rabonia is struggling due to all of the water. A little bit over 300 families have been impacted out there in Rabonia. Some may not know, but Rabonia, a little bit for the history of Rabonia, dates back to 1868. When a United States Union Army surgeon by the name of Albert Stonelake, my grandfather's name was Albert Stonelake, purchased the 80-acre plot known now as Rabonia. All right, it went undeveloped until 1913, when the community was developed primarily to provide housing for migrant farmers, for then were mostly African American. Generations of those families still live there right now to this day. Hurricane Helene brought in about 4 to 6 feet of flooding into each house in Rabonia. And some of the houses were hit. Some were hit differently, and there's a lot of damage. The total damage is not known, but we already know they need help. We need to find ways to get resources out there, and I'm sure a lot of us are working behind the scenes to make sure we get that done.
Yeah, I know. I know you are. I know Misty's worried about it. When we talked about bringing forward this story, things were developing. So, I have spoken to some contacts out there that I have, kept over the years, who are saying that, most of the families' homes are a total loss. Probably not a surprise to all of those of you listening, but many of them are concerned about that, and they recently had established a vacant lot for drop off, for donations and supplies. And a lot of that changes, but as of yesterday, which I guess would have been the 5th of October, that's what was happening.
Yeah, and we've all seen the news reports about the different organizations in town, like Moms Helping Moms and Hope Volunteers and others that are going into the community to help with house-to-house cleanup, and that is so needed. We know that there is some concern that the county project for stormwater runoff and the sidewalks took a pretty hard hit from the storm and may not be functioning as we had hoped. So it's yet to be seen if this is really what's happening. It's changing so quickly.
Yeah, so I know for a fact because I actually rode out there this morning, probably about between 7 and 8. And but with everything that's going on within the recovery efforts, they let us know that the most important thing they need right now is volunteers. And there was some movement when I went through there this morning. You can tell people were out getting ready to get started with the recovery efforts for that particular day. Also, they said don't worry about how long you can stay. They just need willing bodies, able to come out and help. And if you have tools, to help bring things in, as far as gloves and some of those things are very, very important. But the big deal is for us to find ways to make sure that we help them removing those things. Volunteers with tools, gloves, bleach, cleaning supplies, anything at that level, right, to come out. But the biggest worry is getting the drywall out of Helene damaged homes moved before the black mold continues to set in. I will say that we have a lot of elderly people out
Yep.
there, and that is very, very important when you start talking about that mold and that drywall. Eventually, new drywall obviously going to be needed, and just in all other things and natural disasters, one day at a time. And we just want to make sure we continue to extend that hand of support for the people in Robonia.
Yeah, there are a lot of older folks out there, great people, great people. We've had some great work with them. And I think Misty mentioned it. I also saw it, Mark Massifer's been keeping everybody informed of what's going on. And then Jen Hamey, one of the candidates that's running for District 1 actually, has really been putting some things together. A good thing to watch for that is there's a Facebook page that she's put together, Jen Hamey, and you can see where to drop things off there. You can also see some of the things that are needed. There's been an Amazon wish list created by Carrie Girardi, who's also helping with those needs. And that's really cool because I looked at the list and it's just things that every day you can go get: garbage bags, cleaning supplies, all kinds of stuff like that. And then also recently, the Manatee Community Foundation did start a disaster relief fund, and I'm sure that it would be a good place if people aren't really sure what's needed. Always any kind of financial contribution.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Sherry. There are so many people out there helping, and that's the bright side of disasters like this. In addition to Rabonia, we've got the historic Cortez Fishing Village, also established in the 1800s. It was a very important fishing community, and families from North Carolina originally settled there in the 1880s because of all the marine resources. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places, and many of the original buildings and boatyards are still there, and some of them are even still in use. So you guys, I know you know Bob Slicker, who owns Slicker's Eatery on Cortez Road. He is leading a donation effort for that area. His business suffered damage, about 3.5 feet of storm surge from Hurricane Helene. And as he and his crew work to rebuild the place, they're also helping out there, helping all the people who need help. And I saw Sean Murphy too, from the doctor's office out on the island. He's also, so everybody pitches in during these times in need. I think some of the most important things they're asking for are gift cards, monetary donations for food, immediate needs like that, cleaning supplies, like you said, Sherry, paper towels, gloves, garbage bags, trash cans, shovels, tarps, all the things that we think about, the demolition tools, air mattresses for people who lost their beds. I don't know how many streets I've gone down and there are beds everywhere.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Those are going to become missiles in a couple more days here if we don't get that.
Yeah, and I think that's the sad part. I mean, we just talked about what Helen done, and now we have to move forward in prepping for Milton, which I think about 30 to 45 minutes ago I got an alert that it's now category 1. So here we go, Manatee County. If you need sandbags and you're in Robonia, Manatee County has crews working to replenish the sandbags. obviously at the Robonia Community Center. However, we have various locations that the sandbags. You could go to Bennett Park, Buffalo Creek Park, Greenbrook Park. And I'm sure if you are familiar with these areas, you kind of got an idea where we're talking about. So I won't give specific addresses, but I want you to get in those particular areas as far as Lakewood Ranch Park on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard, 53rd, 5050 block. And then the Manatee County Fleet Building is an area where you have sandbags. So as well as the Myaka Community Center. And from what I understand, something is new right down the road from me. The Ola Mae Sims Park will have some sandbags, and obviously out and Ride Preserve all the way across the county. Ride Preserve, Palmasola Park, the Parish Stormwater Facility, Sylvan Oaks right there down next to Eddie Shannon Park. We have the community in the county doing some things to kind of support and alleviate the particular issues that come. So if you need that particular help with sandbags, these are some of the locations, and I'm sure you can go on the county website and get some more information.
Yeah, and the best way to stay informed is really to sign up for the Manatee emergency alerts. You just go to, I think it's Alert Manatee. You can Google it. It's also on the webpage for Manatee County, mymanatee.org, and you'll receive notifications from government and public safety officials. You'll receive alerts for emergency updates such as evacuation notices, boil water advisories, weather warnings, hazardous traffic, road conditions. And they do come around the clock, let me tell you. So turn your ring off. Want them to pop up.
Right.
So I think as we think about this, you have a lot of people out there want to find ways on how they can help with, Helene relief. But please make sure we do the necessary things to prepare for Hurricane Milton. This is a concern. I mean, there's a lot of things, and there may be a slight southern shift, but we have to make sure that we pay close attention to what's going on with Hurricane Milton. Be smart about how you may be impacted. I've been thinking about the trees and things like that. So make sure you have your loose items, either tuck them in or put them in the garage. You don't want debris falling around and creating damage, on your property and your windows and things like that. And if you have been told to evacuate, come on, people, evacuate. Safety is the biggest thing right here. Live to fight another day. If you've been told to evacuate, please do. Shelters are available and are being updated on mymanatee.org, or just dial 311. Reach out to them. They'll give you the necessary information that you need, but we do not want to lose anyone because they didn't evacuate or they didn't have the necessary information. Be safe out there.
Yeah, so many people out on the island that might not have evacuated. That so unfortunate. They've lost their cars. They've lost their, due to the salt water. So that's another reason why evacuating to a safe shelter. Take your car. That's like a really important thing for after the storm passes. Grab some of your personal items, the things that are most important to you. You can put some of those in there. But as both Reggie and Misty are talking about, there's so much help and information. 311 and also on the websites. And I heard too, Reggie mentioned right before we got on this call, the school district is already talking about school closures. So be mindful of that, because the reason those close is because they're used for shelter. So that's a good way to think about if you're not sure where a shelter is, but you're near a school, it might be a shelter. It might be one with a pet friendly, or it might be one for special needs, but call 311 and find out. So you go to the right place or you're evacuated to the right area. So, well, this is kind of an emergency update. We just wanted to make sure that you are all, obviously you're thinking about it and you're getting ready, but we didn't want you to forget about those special areas, those historic areas that tend to struggle to get the resources, and that will continue. We know everybody's going to heed the warnings and get out there and make sure you're safe, but the big picture Manatee's thinking about you. We want to make sure you're safe. We want to make sure you're where you need to be. So we're praying for all of you, both in the historic areas, on the islands, and everywhere else in between. Reggie.
Yes, before we close out, we also want to send our thoughts and prayers out to our friends out there on the island. There's a lot of damage out there. We did not forget about you. And I'm sure the county's doing a great job for those recovery things. We want to make sure our friends out there hang in there, but buckle down. There's more to come.
That's right. That's right. Misty, anything you want to wrap up with before we say goodbye?
No, just like you guys said, if you're told to evacuate, please evacuate. If you're in a manufactured home, please, you have to evacuate.
Yeah.
Be safe.
All right, you guys be safe.
Right.
We love you. We care about you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you soon when things are again on more recovery, and we'll be able to give you more information. So thanks for watching the Big Picture Manatee. You can do that on our YouTube app, on our YouTube channel at the Big Picture Manatee, and then of course subscribe, like us, share it. If you have new ideas or things that you didn't think that we covered in the last 44 episodes, because this is our 44th, let us know, and we'd be happy to bring some more news to you. Thanks everybody. Be safe. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Take care.